Tourney time means Jerry time. CBS Sports bracketologist Jerry Palm joining us now. JP, big result in your bubble matchup of the night between UNC and Syracuse. The Orange edge the Tar Heels in this spot. I want to break this down, what this means for both of these teams. Let's go with the winner first here in Syracuse. They were not in your last four in, nor your first four out heading into the night. Does this perhaps bump them into that conversation?
Well, into the conversation, but not into the group. I mean, it's an important win for Syracuse because they need quality wins. They also need to do this away from home. They're not going to be able to do that in the regular season. That's going to have to wait for the conference tournament. But it's always good to have wins over teams that you're competing with for a spot in the field, and they got one of those tonight. But there's still some more work for Syracuse to do to get into this group.
As for UNC, I'm not sure there's such thing as a quality loss this time of year. If there is this one? And what is your criteria for, let's say, a quality loss?
The quality loss is when you lose to a team that you're probably supposed to lose to and that's higher up the bracket than you. So this is not that, because Syracuse was behind them, although it is a road loss. For Carolina, though, this does drop them down just a little bit, but it's enough to put them back into the last four teams into the bracket. So it's a step in the wrong direction, although a baby step for North Carolina tonight.
All right, Jerry, let's take a look at those last four in, first four out scenarios here. NC sliding into that last four in. They join Boise State, VCU, Drake on that list. Break this down for us, where these teams stand heading into another pivotal week of hoop.
Yeah, at the bottom of that list, you've got VCU, the second seed in the A10 tournament, which was just announced today. That bracket just came out. They're going to get to play maybe on their home floor a little bit, so that's a good advantage for them. But that was St. Bonaventure losing today, and VCU and St. Louis both, real close to that cut line. That could end up being a one-bid league. Drake might be getting a little bit healthier now, with Hemphill possibly coming back for the Missouri Valley tournament. If that happens, then all of a sudden, we've got a more competitive situation between them and Loyola, possibly going into the Missouri Valley tournament, and Drake may need to win that thing to actually get into the field.
As for those on the wrong side of that conversation, we're looking at St. Louis, Duke, Seton Hall, and Stanford. Jerry, what's out in front of these teams right now? Obviously, we still have conference tournaments to play for, but four teams with plenty out in front of them, but something has to happen. Some movement needs to be made for these teams to find themselves on the right side of the conversation.
Yeah, and for Seton Hall and Stanford, they're far enough away that they're probably going to have to wait till they get to their conference tournaments before they can really make a push into the bracket. But for St. Louis, they got a big win today over UMass, some momentum into the A10 tournaments. And then for Duke, they've got a great week in terms of opportunity. The road games with Georgia Tech and North Carolina, two teams directly ahead of them, both in the bracket, teams they're competing with for a spot in the bracket. If they pick up road wins in those situations, that would be big for Duke. They'd be a team in the bracket, and one or both of those may end up out. But Duke is only 2 games above 500 right now. If they lose both of these games, they're a 500 team going into the ACC tournament. And now you're talking about a deep run just to have a good enough overall record to be considered.
Big result well inside the bubble as well. Oklahoma State taking down Oklahoma for the second time in 3 nights. Jerry, when you take stock of these two teams and see where they stand right now, what are the implications from this result on Monday?
Yeah, boy, if you're an Oklahoma fan, that stinks, losing to your rival not just twice in a season, but twice in 3 days. Well, Oklahoma, they're going the wrong way. That's their 3rd loss in a row. The first of those losses, though, is the one that really hurts in bracket terms, and that's the one at Kansas State, who's a non-contender in this league this year. And that's pushed them down toward the bottom of the top 25 in the bracket. The 25th team in the bracket is a 7 seed, and that's the neighborhood that Oklahoma finds themselves in right now. Whereas Oklahoma State continues to play well. They've won 5 in a row. They're continuing to move up the bracket and has a chance now to possibly be a 3 or maybe even a 2 seed, not necessarily after this game, but more as a ceiling as they continue to play well into the Big 12.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.